Right now on the Channel 3 News at 11, major and significant flooding around Vermont. We have the latest. Residents are bracing as rivers are still hours away from cresting and some already higher than the peak of Irene. Montpelier and other major town centers flooded. What you need to know. Plus, impassable roads, residents stranded in places as flooding has overtaken the roadways.
Flood alerts remain in effect tonight as rivers continue to rise and rain continues to fall. I have the latest in your Max Advantage forecast.
Live from Vermont's own WCAX, the Channel 3 News at 11 starts now.
Floodwaters swamping towns, closing roads, and stranding people all across Vermont tonight. Good evening, I'm Catherine Huntley in for Christina Guessford. Rivers are roaring tonight from torrential rains. Scenes like this captured by viewers all across the state. Downtowns like Ludlow and Londonderry completely underwater. Swift water rescue teams have now performed more than 50 rescues. Dozens of road closures, including a section of Interstate 89 that paralyzed travel between Montpelier and Burlington. And with rivers yet to crest, anyone living in a danger zone urged to evacuate. Vermont's capital city is among the places underwater tonight. This is Main Street in downtown Montpelier this evening. Water from the North Branch and the Winooski overrunning their banks. The Winooski has now surpassed the level it reached during Tropical Storm Irene and is still rising tonight. Evacuations and road closures have many seeking refuge in shelters tonight, like the Berlin Elementary School, where Lucy Kale joins us live.
Yeah, there are about 90 people here at Berlin Elementary School. They've all been bussed out to the official emergency shelter with the American Red Cross. That's at Barry Auditorium. People there will have places to sleep and they'll have food. This was just a temporary shelter to get people out of the flooding. People I talked to today said they were caught off guard with the flooding and now they just want to get home.
Sitting here for probably about 2 hours now, I'd say, maybe more.
A waiting game Monday afternoon after floodwaters block roads throughout the state.
Blocked off at 8, blocked off everywhere.
Anthony Pellegrino and his co-worker were out delivering packages when they had to pull into the Berlin Visitor Center.
I was stuck out in one of the snowstorms this past winter one time, but I managed to even get through that, but this is nothing like stuck like this before.
Roads, parks, and bridges covered in water in Montpelier and Barry. Homes flooded in 2011, flooded again. People in Moortown asked to evacuate early in the day with threats of water rising.
What I'm seeing here, way worse than Irene.
And Carol was returning home from running errands when a road in Montpelier flooded over. Many people say they were caught off guard.
Well, it's unnerving for sure. People had to move quickly, so it was very stressful.
Now we're hearing that most of the hotels nearby are fully booked up with people trying to escape these floods. Now, people saying they're either going to sleep in their cars or in one of the shelters. Reporting in Berlin, Lucy Kale, Channel 3 News.
Thanks, Lucy. And as she mentioned, that temporary shelter in Berlin is now closed, but there is an overnight shelter at the Barry Auditorium in downtown Barry. There are also shelters at the Hyde Park Town Fire Station and the Williston Central School. State emergency management officials continue to urge people to find a safe place to stay.
We really want people to be hyper vigilant and monitor the river and don't wait too long to get to higher ground.
And as we told you, Interstate 89 closed tonight from Berlin to Middlesex. And here is why. Water running off the hillside between exits 8 and 9, cascading across both the north and southbound lanes. VTrans deeming it too unsafe for traffic. Route 2 is also closed in that area, so there is currently no way to get north of Montpelier or south of Middlesex. Channel 3's Christina Guessford was driving back today from out of state, but is now stuck in Montpelier and cannot go any further north. She's on the phone right now. Christina, why can't you go any further, and can you describe all of what you're seeing?
Yeah, Yeah, hi. Good night, Catherine. In my car right now at the merge point of Memorial Drive and Dog River Road. I'm just down the road from the I-89 exit 8 northbound on-ramp in Montpelier. I've been here in this line of traffic since about 7 this evening. Here the rain has stopped, so we're hoping that maybe that is good news for the reopening of I-89, and hopefully this will move soon. I am at the highest ground I can possibly get to. I'm right outside the flood zone in Montpelier, though I can hear the Winooski River raging only a few hundred feet away. Now traffic is at a complete standstill. There's about 200 to 300 cars, I would estimate, stranded. Most cars are cut off, headlights off, or basically in near darkness. I can't go north or south due to that Route 2 closure and the massive flooding in downtown Montpelier. That also means I can't get to a shelter. There's no way to turn around, cut off in both directions, like we're basically on an island right here. This is the only way to get to Burlington south of Montpelier. The on-ramp is also congested with 18-wheelers. The traffic is spanning all the way down to Dog River Road, which I did go and check out, and it has completely flooded, making the road impassable, and the river and the road completely indistinguishable. People have been walking around with flashlights tonight trying to find anyone to provide guidance. I haven't seen any emergency crews where I am, though only moments ago I did see Vermont State Police cruisers coming down Memorial Drive towards downtown Montpelier. I've been talking to some people who have been in their cars saying they don't have food or water, and they have cars full of people, so they're a little bit concerned about that. I've seen some people using the bathroom outside in the wooded areas. They are still in pretty good spirits, though. They just wish they knew when or if 89 will reopen tonight, if they should prepare to sleep in their cars. I'm wondering that myself. Some are saying there's access to National Life parking lot up the hill off Memorial Drive. That's much higher ground, probably a good safe place to sleep tonight if you have to. Earlier, when it was still light out, though, I watched people in tour buses grabbing their luggage from the compartments underneath the vehicles and walking back down towards downtown Montpelier. And I was trying to discourage people from doing that because I knew that downtown, the way that downtown looked, a lot of these people are not from around here, but they are frustrated by the lack of information and communication. And earlier when I was passing downtown Montpelier at about 7 p.m., many people lining with the Winooski River watching it rise. They were totally in awe of how level it was with the roads. I mean, even the drains were flooded, looking almost like water fountains. So it looks pretty disastrous out here, Catherine. Like I said, we're completely stranded. Don't know if we're going to be spending the night out here, but just trying to keep in touch with you guys and let you know what I'm seeing out here.
All right, well, thanks, Christina, and best of luck and stay safe out there. And an urgent warning for people living near 2 dams in southern Vermont. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers warns that unprecedented amounts of water will be released from both the Ball Mountain Dam in Jamaica and the Townsend Dam in Townsend, resulting in severe flooding downstream. Now they are recommending evacuations for threatened areas of Jamaica, Townsend, Newfane, Brookline, Dummerston, Brattleboro, and Vernon, Vermont, as well as Chesterfield and Hinsdale, New Hampshire. Again, high volumes of water are expected to be released through the spillways of dams in Jamaica and Townsend, creating severe flooding downstream. Thousands of outages are being reported around the state in areas impacted by this storm. You can see the areas in orange here. Right now, more than 8,000 outages are being reported, with the most significant areas being in Washington and Orange counties. Most counties in the state are being impacted in some way by the storm. All right, Jess, so what can you tell us? What is going on right now?
Well, we're still seeing extensive river flooding out there, and in a lot of communities on par, or in some cases exceeding what happened with Tropical Storm Irene. Lots of warnings still out there at this hour, even though there are many parts of the state that aren't seeing rain quite as intense as we were earlier. All of these red shaded areas are flood warnings of some capacity. So that includes most of northern Vermont. You'll notice some of these areas where they're kind of outlined in green. Those Those are river flood warnings along a lot of rivers, that Winooski, the Lamoille, the Missisquoi, the Barton River, the Mad River. Also issues in Essex County, New York, flood warning there until midnight. Flood warnings for parts of Bennington and Windham County as well. Flood warnings along the Otter Creek, the White River, along the Connecticut River, and the Williams River too tonight. Flash flood warning has been extended to 2:15 a.m. for these shaded portions, and also one in Grafton County, New Hampshire. Now the flooding in Montpelier has surpassed Irene's level, which was 19.05 feet. Current level is more than 20 feet, and we're going to rise a couple more feet here within the next couple of hours here. Forecast crest around 2 a.m. Not quite record level, but the second highest level observed. We have multiple rivers at major flood stage: the Winooski, Otter Creek, Lamoille, the Dog River, moderate flood stage at the Winooski River, the Williams River, and also newly added to this, also the Lamoille River at Jeffersonville. I'll have more on this and when this finally wraps up in your full forecast coming up.
Now, let's look at the road closures, which are snarling travel around the state, a huge issue for just about anyone who's trying to get around out there. So here you can see all of the red dots. Each red dot means that there is a road closed. Now, the biggest issue, like you just heard from Christina Gassford, is along 89 here, and between Route 7 and Route 9, completely closed. But what's making that issue even worse is the fact that here along Route 2, there's so many closures that nobody can take a detour, and thus, like Christina, are stuck. Now, moving down here to central Vermont, another issue. Now, I need to say that these are just state roads. There's so many more roads that have been washed out, but down here you have Route 100, which has numerous issues, and Route 4, which has numerous issues. So a really difficult night for anyone who's out there driving around. And in Waterbury, as floodwaters encroach on homes, residents are using lessons they learned during Irene to better prepare this time around. Water rushing along the Winooski River in Waterbury. Around 6:30 p.m. today, the bridge leading to downtown was overtaken by water, forcing motorists to find another way in or out. Even at the state offices, which were largely rebuilt after the Irene floods, that parking lot was beginning to flood by this evening. Despite the impending water, those who live closest to the river say they have to stay positive.
Honestly, it is what it is. You can't stop the flow of water, and it's going to do what it's going to do. You know, the one thing I learned during Irene is that water does what it does, and stuff is just stuff. If you lose it, it's replaceable.
The Winooski River still has around 3 hours before an expected crest. Many central Vermont communities are isolated as severe flooding made for dangerous conditions on the roads. Within many of them, people are trapped in their homes calling for help. Channel 3's Rachel Mann gives us a look at the dire situation.
From across a river barreling through his front yard, a man watches as his family stands stranded on their porch in Cavendish. And for Betsy Hart in Chester, a similar situation. She and her family were rescued by the Chester Fire Department.
Yep, my son, my dog, and I.
As the inside of their home flooded.
Saving photographs, taking just the vital, important things that we needed to take to be out now for an undetermined amount of time.
As of Monday night, the Chester Fire Department has assisted with at least 35 rescues. They say they expect to do more throughout Tuesday and Wednesday with more rain on the way.
A lot of the storm was in the mountains, and we need to worry about the runoff. So just because the storm moment is over doesn't mean that the flooding's not going to continue or even get worse.
Wilson adds their biggest challenge is not being able to safely access any evacuation points.
Chester turned into definitely Irene 2.0. Chester's an island right now. There's really no in or out at this point in time.
So if floodwaters aren't posing a risk, stay home until given the all clear.
You know, you think it's going to be okay, and it is for a while, and then it can really change quickly.
As emergency responders keep saying, don't challenge the road closed signs as conditions can deteriorate quickly. In Chester, Rachel Mann, Channel 3 News.
Still to come on tonight's news, charges filed against a man after the death of a police officer.
I'm Mike Ben David in Rutland, where the man whose car hit and killed a Rutland City police officer faces a judge. I'll have the story coming up.
So many people are overweight now and asking themselves, why can't I lose weight? For most, the reason is insulin resistance, and they don't even know they have it. Conventional starvation diets don't address insulin resistance. That's why they don't work. Now there's Release from Golo. It naturally helps reverse insulin resistance, stops sugar cravings, and releases stubborn fat, all while controlling stress and emotional eating. At last, a diet pill that actually works. Go to golo.com to get yours.
From family get-togethers to weekend getaways, Ford vehicles help you get more out of your summer. And during the summer sales event, you can get a lot more for your money. On trucks that give you more power under the hood and in the bed. Innovative workspaces that let you be more productive. And more towing capacity to get more done. Now get $3,900 for $60 plus $500 low APR cash on 23 F-150 XLT and Lightning from your local Ford store. Where there's always more in store.
Take in the beauty of Claremont, New Hampshire, located in the heart of the Connecticut River Valley. Easy access to Boston, New York, and everyday shopping. Come and see the beautiful residential landscapes, the bustling energy of the city, and opportunities that abound. Find an array of year-round recreational and leisure activities on our mountains, rivers, and community parks. Claremont, New Hampshire makes life easy. A perfect mix of city and country living. Make a future here.
Ike Ben-David brings us details from the courthouse.
20-year-old Tate Rayom calling into court for his arraignment from his hospital bed where he's still being treated for injuries suffered in last week's crash, while a courtroom full of cops watched on.
Enter pleas of not guilty.
Rayom facing multiple charges, including gross negligent operation with death resulting and attempting to elude with death resulting for the crash last Friday that killed rookie Rutland officer Jessica Ebenhausen.
Ultimately, he decided to pass a car that, from his perspective, was moving slower than he would like to go while trying to evade the police.
According to court paperwork, Rayom's ex-girlfriend, Jasmine Baker, told police Rayom had recently stopped taking medication to treat bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. On Friday morning, the same day of the crash, police were already aware of Rayom. He was demanding to see his kids and was blocking driveways with his truck. Rayom left before police arrived. Later that day, police were called again when surveillance cameras noted that Rayom was now inside the house of Baker and her new boyfriend. He then fled the scene.
The defendant admitted that he knew the police were looking for him, that they tried to stop him, that he did not want to stop.
Police say Rayom turned onto Route 4, crossed the center line, and drove into Ebenhausen's cruiser, who was responding to the call from the opposite direction. Court paperwork says he admitted to consuming cannabis and was on multiple prescribed medications.
Essentially, he chose that he cared more about getting away from the police than the lives of everyone else on or around the roadway.
At the Rutland City Police Department on Monday, a memorial continues to grow as people were stopping by to pay their respects.
We just feel so sorry for the Rutland police, you know.
So when we saw that this was going on, we definitely knew we had to contribute.
The investigation into the crash is ongoing.
Bail was set at $100,000. If he does not post that and get healthy enough to leave the hospital, he'll be transferred over to the Department of Corrections and head to one of Vermont's prisons. In Rutland, Ike Ben-David, Channel 3 News.
Coming up, Vermont's newest soccer team back in action this weekend. Michael catches up with the squad.
Catch live local streaming TV, free at viewit.com or on the Viewit app. Stream content from your favorite stations here and across the country. Plus, watch exclusive events and original programming all in one place from your favorite device. Keep up to date with what's happening in your community with news, weather, prep sports, and more.
In today's Living Right, here's what you should do to up your workout routine.
Search View It in your app store and download for free today.
Take in the beauty of Claremont, New Hampshire, located in the heart of the Connecticut River Valley. Easy access to Boston, New York, and everyday shopping. Come and see the beautiful residential landscapes, the bustling energy of the city, and opportunities that abound. Find an array of year-round recreational and leisure activities on our mountains, rivers, and community parks. Claremont, New Hampshire makes life easy. A perfect mix of city and country living. Make a future here.
Now, your Channel 3 Max Advantage forecast.
We're still seeing extensive flooding out there tonight after a very significant day of flooding already. And now we're transitioning to a river flood threat, especially this evening. Of course, the Winooski at Montpelier, Otter Creek at Rutland at major flood stage now on par with Irene, and the Memorial River at Johnson right now, the Dog River at Northfield Falls, also extensive flooding, moderate flood stage at the Winooski River at Waterbury. That's within about 5 feet of Irene levels there. The Williams River near Rockingham, and a ton of rivers in minor flood stage right now. One of note here, the Winooski at Essex Junction is forecast to continue rising and crest a little bit later than some of the others. Most of these will crest in a few hours during the overnight, but the Winooski at Essex Junction is going to take a little bit longer to respond and will crest during the day tomorrow. So that one's going to keep rising to levels that, again, are going to be on par with Irene. Tons of other rivers at minor flood stage. The Lamoille at Jeffersonville is actually at moderate flood stage right now. And again, we're still seeing these rivers rising for a couple more hours. Some, like the Winooski at Essex Junction, going to continue to rise into tomorrow. Extensive flooding out there. Tons of roads near these rivers, near creeks, streams, and all over the place flooded out. You're going to encounter additional closures into tomorrow, washouts, even road closures after the water recedes. Of course, lots of flood warnings still in effect at this hour. These are all flood warnings in effect for our area, and the flood watch remains in effect area-wide through tomorrow evening. Now, we're still looking at the rain, especially along the Canadian border, but overall the heaviest rain has wrapped up for the most part across Vermont. Still this section, though, in Essex County, New York, seeing pretty extensive flooding. The heaviest stuff now, that little section of Franklin and Orleans County, and then also, again, this nearly stationary area of rain in Essex County, New York, the southern half, that hasn't really moved for the past couple of hours. Now, as we go through tonight, the heaviest band lifts north, but we're going to see some activity continuing to pivot through during the early morning hours of Tuesday. By midday, it's pretty much all out of here. And then we actually dry out and see some sun late in the day and get a little bit of a lull in the wet weather. Still, another inch possible for some spots. Most spots, though, done with the significant rainfall, but it's going to take a while for these rivers to respond after seeing some of these extensive rainfall totals. These are just a handful of spots that have reported totals 7 to 9 inches of rain so far today. So a little bit of a break finally late Tuesday into Wednesday, but we stay unsettled Thursday onward, so we'll have to continue to monitor the situation closely.
Thanks, Jess. Breaking information coming in right now. Vermont Emergency Management has opened up many more shelters than before. You can learn more about those on their Facebook page. But coming up next, the manhunt continues for a Pennsylvania inmate, where authorities are finding him at, or looking for him. The next latest.
Take in the beauty of Claremont, New Hampshire, located in the heart of the Connecticut River Valley. Easy access to Boston, New York, and everyday shopping. Come and see the beautiful residential landscapes, the bustling energy of the city, and opportunities that abound. Find an array of year-round recreational and leisure activities on our mountains, rivers, and community parks. Claremont, New Hampshire makes life easy. A perfect mix of city and country living. Make a future here.
A manhunt is underway for a 34-year-old homicide suspect who escaped from a northwestern Pennsylvania jail late Thursday night. Authorities are warning that he's likely armed and dangerous and may be receiving some kind of assistance. Naomi Ruckham reports from New York.
Authorities searching for an inmate who escaped from a Pennsylvania jail using tied bed sheets say they believe he is still in the area.
Regardless of where Burham may try to run, he will be pursued by the full force of law enforcement.
Investigators did not rule out the possibility that 34-year-old Michael Burham crossed state lines sometime after his Thursday night jail breakout. Burham was being held on arson and burglary charges, allegedly involved in the kidnapping of an elderly couple and suspected of killing a woman in western New York. The desperate search by local, multi-state, and federal authorities includes canine units, drones, and aircraft.
But I am convinced that the approach that we are taking will be successful. There is no doubt in my mind we will capture him.
Small stockpiles or campsites were found in wooded areas, some possibly connected to Burham, authorities say.
Definitely people are nervous, upset.
I believe at some point we will force him to make a mistake, and when he does, we will use that to our advantage.
Police warn that Burham, a survivalist with military training, is considered armed and dangerous and should not be approached. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Next in sports, an exciting finish to one of baseball's most exciting events. Relive the Home Run Derby fireworks next.
It was raining.
Take in the beauty of Claremont, New Hampshire, located in the heart of the Connecticut River Valley. Easy access to Boston, New York, and everyday shopping. Come and see the beautiful residential landscapes, the bustling energy of the city, and opportunities that abound. Find an array of year-round recreational and leisure activities on our mountains, rivers, and community parks. Claremont, New Hampshire makes life easy. A perfect mix of city and country living. Make a future here.
Now, WCAX Channel 3 Sports, sponsored by Xfinity Mobile.
Sunday night at Virtue Field was a chance for Vermont Green to get back in the win column in a friendly against Juba Star without any consequences reflected in the league table. But it was about more than that, too. The Green faced off with the Juba Star team, full of some of what head coach Adam Pfeiffer called the best young talent in Vermont, and they actually took a 1-0 lead into halftime. Emmanuel Omar scored the lone goal for him and was named one of the Maple Men of the match, a rarity for the visiting team, but fitting for a community event like this game. Around the 60th minute, though, the home Green scored a flurry of goals, 4 of them in 11 minutes to be exact, to take the lead and earn the victory and perhaps take some momentum into the crucial final week of the season. The men in green tied for second and just 1 point out of first, and Sunday gave them a chance to dish out some playing time and get some rest too, but also put on a 90-minute show for the Burlington area.
From a community standpoint, that's you know the larger meaning for this game. But yeah, I mean, look, we've got some guys that haven't gotten big minutes this season that needed a little bit of fitness tonight, and so that was good. So you know, like I said, it's a great community event, but it's also really good for some of our guys to get some good fitness in. The goals started to come in the second half, and guys played with a little bit more urgency. Just knowing that they were behind. So I think that's all it was.
Let's go out to Seattle. Boy, this was fun. The MLB Home Run Derby tonight. Seahawks legend Marshawn Lynch carrying out the trophy ahead of the final round between Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Randy Arozarena. Guerrero took down Mookie Betts and Seattle's hometown star Julio Rodriguez to advance to the finals, and here he is rounding out his final round, finishing with 25 homers and setting the stage for the Tampa superstar Arozarena. And he got hot with his 30 seconds of bonus time, nearly climbing out of what at first looked like an insurmountable lead. He would get to 23 home runs. Look at how fast he's getting these swings off. 5 in the final 10 seconds, but he would finish just a pair of home runs short. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. hangs on to win it 16 years after his dad, Vlad Guerrero Sr., the legendary slugger, won his home run derby. Lots of fun tonight. All-Star game coming up Tuesday night. Yankees ace Garrett Cole getting the nod for the American League. Zach Gallen for Arizona will take the bump for the NL. That's it for sports. I'm Michael Dugan.
Now your Channel 3 Max Advantage forecast.
Extensive flooding continues into the overnight and in some cases into the day tomorrow. Remember, do not drive through floodwater. Turn around, seek an alternate route. If you run into it, you don't know what's under that water, and it doesn't take much to sweep your car away. After that, though, still unsettled.
And before we go, Vermont Emergency Management has opened several shelters across the state for residents impacted by flooding. You can call 211 for more information if you need that help. And thank you for joining us this evening. We'll have the latest tomorrow morning at 4:30 on flooding around the state. Good night.